everyone, and welcome back to The Hobby Musician. Today, it's time for another Deep Thought. Well, if you're new to the channel, these are episodes that we put out that allow us to talk about broader themes in music, maybe pursuing goals or pursuing your passions. And we always start these episodes reminding you that everything we talk about are just my perspectives, my viewpoints. We know that every single one of you watching this have your ideas and your thoughts. We want to encourage you. Head down to the comments and add your voice to the conversation. I imagine that it's going to take a little bit of time to maybe set the stage or provide context for why I titled this episode the way I did. So, longtime viewers of the show will know that my personal rig, the rig that I use to perform, is centered on the Helix modeling unit made by Line 6. Now, they're not sponsors, it's just the gear that I use. Now, if you're familiar with this company and with these products, Line 6 offers periodic updates and upgrades free of charge to all of the customers that have their units. As of the posting of this video, Helix users will know that a couple weeks ago, Line 6 released a very anticipated, super big update. They went to firmware 3.0. And as with any update, they provided brand new amp models. They provided brand new effect pedals, control options, flexibility. It was a big deal. But the past couple of weeks have been crazy at work for me. So I would work all day and I would be wiped out when I got home. So I personally didn't have a chance to play around with the new models and amps. But on my lunch breaks, I would eat lunch and pull up YouTube videos to watch while I ate of other people demonstrating the new amps and the new effects. Well, I got through most of the week, and I finally, near the end of the first week, I stumbled upon a video where somebody was demonstrating a lot of the polyphonic models, the effect models. Line 6 offered or released a bunch of these effects. Some effects were just simple like pitch shifting effects that basically could act as a capo and shift every note up or down depending on what you needed. But as they went through, as the demonstrator went through, one of the last pedals they demonstrated was essentially a single pedal that mimics the effect of the freeze manufactured by Electro-Harmonix, where you can play a tone and capture it and play it indefinitely in the background while you can solo over it. Now, I got mad. I felt myself tense up and I got mad that pedal was included in this update. And here's why. If you're familiar with our channel, you might know that barely a month ago, we put out an episode in our pedal mimic series. Well, that's a series built on the premise that, the Helix doesn't have every pedal in the universe, so we find ways to use other models, other things that are included, to mimic what a pedal can do. And the episode we put out was mimicking the freeze. I'll put a link to it here. It's a good episode, but we stacked delays. We used reverbs. I ended up matching and assigning about 9 different parameters to one foot switch where things were going off and things were going on. It was a complicated patch, but at the end of it, we really did get pretty close to mimicking the freeze. But here Line 6 is just a few short weeks later offering the exact single block, single pedal that does everything that my patch does. Well, okay, what's going on here? Well, after a couple of days, I started to calm down a little bit and I started to try to analyze why I got so mad, because it started to get comical. I was asking myself, I'm like, self, are you trying to tell me that you're actually mad that there's a company out there that says to its customers, hey, all that money you paid to us to buy one of our products? Well, we appreciate you so much that we will constantly, every 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever it is, we are going to constantly provide you with updates, improvements, expansions, all free of charge because we appreciate your business so much. And I had to say to myself, you're really upset about that? Well, I realized what was going on. I had gotten a little too precious about my episode. Now, here's what I mean about that. I currently play in a band where one of our main goals is to create brand new music and to record and kind of just be creative. And when we formed the band, our drummer said something just incredibly profound, and I won't forget it. At that moment, he told us, he said, you know, as we make music, we need to remember not to get too precious about the details. Now, in that context, he was talking about we just can't really get to the point where we're obsessing about every single note or every single level in the mixing of a song we do, because the danger of getting too far into that is that you can stifle creativity. You can prevent yourself from continuing to be creative because you're stuck in one moment or one project. And that really is what is meant by that phrase, you know, getting too precious about something kind of means putting that thing up on a pedestal that you're always looking at it and you can't move on. I realize that that's what happened to me, and it happens to all of us. I had taken my episode and I had thought, well, this means that my work doesn't matter anymore. Now that there's a pedal, who cares about that episode? Now, on one hand, that could be true. But on the other hand, in making that episode, I learned a lot. I got so much more familiar with all the parameters and all the settings in this piece of gear that I always use. In watching the episode, you might learn something about those models that you didn't know before. So, in the other sense, my work isn't in vain. There's still value to the stuff that I did, but it just took me a minute to recognize it. I had gotten a little too precious about my episode. Well, I hope that that idea maybe helps you. Maybe that provides some context or perspective for projects you might be working on. Well, I want to thank you for watching, and as always, until next time, play on, my friends. Play on.